I just had John Kiriakou on my show. I don't know
is he?
So he is ex-CIA guy. He went to prison because he exposed the torture program.
Oh.
Yeah. So Robert Mueller actually prosecuted that guy.
Whoa.
So now he's a member of Veterans Intelligence Professionals for Sanity, VIPs, and they were invented, or they were originally organized to debunk the weapons of mass destruction about Iraq. So they were intelligence professionals who knew what was happening, that we were being sold a bill of goods because the military-industrial complex wanted its war, right?
Yeah.
And so they were like all the top guys, Ray McGovern, Bill Binney, and they created this organization to help debunk it. Well,
Bill Binney is the guy who was the first whistleblower for the NSA,
yes,
correct?
That they tried to throw, and the FBI tried to throw him in jail. And of course, he's the smartest guy the NSA ever had, so he outsmarted the FBI.
Well, how did he do that?
So
I forget the story, but
I forget the story. He told it to me, but he had them secretly recorded saying certain things, and so when they tried to show the evidence against him, he's like, actually, I got you guys. And they're like, oh, shit. And so they could. And so he had them. So he outsmarted them. And he tells the story on my show. It was about a year ago, so I don't remember exactly how it went. But he told me a lot of mind-blowing stuff on my show. A lot of stuff. Just, like about how they spy on us.
Well, he was the one that first exposed this program that was essentially spying on every single email, every single voicemail, every single conversation that you have is being recorded.
So William Binney invented a thing called Thin Thread. So Thin Thread was a data collection. So what he did is he hooked up every cell phone to every cell phone in the universe. And he did it. And it was hard to do, and everybody said you couldn't do it. He did it. And so he knew that metadata was more predictive than, say, if I tap your phone and listen to your actual phone conversation. I actually learned more by looking at a larger data set. And when contacts start happening, that means movement's happening. That means an attack is going to happen. That means more. So the metadata means more. And so he found a way to track people and keep your identity secret, so it was constitutional. That's what he cared about, the Constitution and the right to privacy. And Thin Thread did that. It was a better, and they got rid of Thin Thread, and a couple weeks later, 9/11 happened. So that's who Bill Binney is. And so he said they got rid of it because there's billions of dollars in the new they brought in I think it was called Trailblazer, not as good as a tracker, not as good as a metadata thing. But it was, $5-6 billion to Booz Allen or whoever invented it. And that's what this is all about. This is all about money, and you don't want to disappoint people who want to have a lot of money paid their way. And so so he blew the whistle on that, and they come back at him and they try to put him in jail. That's what they do to whistleblowers. That's what we do. So that's funny to hear him say, oh, somebody wrote a bad book about Putin and they ended up dead. What do you think we do in this country? Look what they did to Chelsea Manning. Look what we did to people who expose war crimes inside of our country. Right now they're trying to assassinate Julian Assange. They have him in basically solitary confinement. We literally did torture Chelsea Manning. So, and then, Barack Obama used he prosecuted lots of whistleblowing journalists using now I'm blanking on the word it's called, but Espionage Act. So this idea that, I'm sure maybe Putin did. Maybe that woman who wrote that book about Putin has a lot of powerful enemies. Usually you do. When you are that kind of a journalist where you're exposing the powerful, she probably didn't just expose Putin. So she probably exposed a lot of people. My point being is that, now who's being naive, Kay?
Well, I mean, she probably did expose a lot of people, but it's also very likely that Putin had her killed.
Yeah, yes, it is. I'm not denying that.
Yeah,
Barack Obama had a kill list.
Yeah.
So these guys are out. He took us from 2 wars to 7. He did Libya, turned it into a failed state. Yeah. Right now they have open slave trading.
I know. You can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. So
dark.
And they want to do it again. They want to do it in Syria. So Joe, let me ask you a question. If we get rid of Assad in Syria, do you know who takes over?
Jesus or something.
That's right.
Is that who starts running things? Moses, or is he around?
Al-Qaeda,
Nusra.
Yeah.
So that they create a power vacuum, which is what always happens.
The Wahhabi terrorists funded by Saudi Arabia, that's who takes over. Yeah. And I have videotape after videotape of our top officials admitting that Saudi Arabia funds ISIS and that we also did. So, and that we created Al-Qaeda. And ISIS was created because of our invasion of Iraq, but then we actually fund them. and we shipped them arms. So
For what reason?
to go overthrow Assad, so we can put a pipeline through Syria.
So we fund them so that they fight Assad, but then Saudi Arabia funds them.
This isn't the first time we did that. We funded Al Qaeda so they would fight the Russians. So this is the same, and then we're left with them.
When was the Mujahideen?
That's when they were the Mujahideen.
Yeah.
So, and I have videotapes of Hillary Clinton screaming about this. We created this problem. She says this on video. I have it. So that's why I get in trouble, because I tell the truth about the war. And if you tell the truth about the war, you'll be called a conspiracy theorist by the establishment news. That's exactly what's happened. That happened to me.
Are you a conspiracy theorist now?
No, that's what they say.
Huh.
You know what the biggest, because I tell the truth about Syria.
Right.
The biggest conspiracy of my lifetime was the Iraq War. That was a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's a legit conspiracy.
That's a legit conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean, that's one you can actually prove.
Right.
I mean, I used to have a whole bit about it. I used to have a whole bit about, like, that the only way to find out if someone was, like, from 2005. It was that the reason why they put George Bush in power is the only way to find out if someone is really stupid is to put an actual stupid guy in as president and find out if everybody freaks out. That's the only way to really tell. And we were like, well, we could put a smart guy in there and have him act dumb. Like, no. We'll never know. We'll never know. We get a dumb guy. Let's just try it out and see what happens. And then it was the whole thing about us going to war in Iraq. Like, why did we go to the war over there? And what did we tell them? And they bought that? Holy shit. And then it was, he won again? He won again. Fuck. And I go, and there's someone in the back of the room going, I think we can go dumber. and that became Trump.